Hi everyone, this is Jim Sunyan, the chair of the Encoding Standards Subcommittee of the Music Library Association's Cataloging and Metadata Committee. We're one of the three subcommittees of the Music Library Association's Cataloging and Metadata Committee. You're looking here at the main page for the larger committee on the Music Library Association's website. ESS focuses on monitoring and helping develop the standards used to store and exchange metadata, with a focus on the ways these standards impact metadata used to describe works and resources of interest to the music community. The Encoding Standards Subcommittee was formed in 2015 with the merger of the MARC Subcommittee and Metadata Subcommittee of the then Bibliographic Control Committee. Some of the reasoning behind the merger was that the days of MARC as our primary encoding format were limited, and that one of the other metadata standards, most likely BibFrame, would be arriving on the scene as a replacement to MARC. If you've been monitoring the scene at all, however, you've probably noticed that the transition is taking way longer than many projections, and that MARC remains our main mode to encode our bibliographic and authorities metadata. As a result, much of the committee's work has been focused on maintaining and developing the MARC format and its documentation. One example of our recent work involves updating the examples and the documentation for MARC Field 382, Medium of Performance, in the bibliographic and authorities formats. Although we don't typically initiate major revisions of this sort, the examples for the 382 spanned half a decade of development of the field, and most conflicted with current ways that we'd use the field. If you navigate to the current display of the MARC 21 documentation for Field 382, you'll find displayed in red all of our recent changes. If you go over to the authorities documentation, you'll find similar changes made over there. Another example of our fairly recent work involves expanding MARC Field 028 to make room for distributor numbers. We chose to define a new second indicator value of 6 to make this happen, and you'll see the distributor number first indicator right here. As you can see, though, inserting something new into the fabric of an existing field can require a lot of adjustment to what's already there. In the case of this MARC proposal, we also ended up making changes to Field 037 in order to clarify the situations for which you would use one field or the other. So far, I've been concentrating on the subcommittee's work on the MARC format, and that's been a major focus for us. Once you move from MARC to non-MARC encoding standards, the user bases change, and finding information about what other standards are out there isn't always easy, especially if you've been used to MARC. If you find yourself in the position of needing to find out more information, one starting point is the Metadata Resources pages on the CMC website. This is a resource created and maintained by ESS and its predecessor, the Metadata Subcommittee. You can get to it just off the main CMC page by clicking Metadata Resources. You can take a look here and hopefully find links to new and useful resources about other metadata standards and also MARC as well. We're always accepting ideas for new resources to be added to these pages, so please contact me if you have any ideas. As other opportunities to work on encoding standards other than MARC arise, it will be the work of ESS. And as BibFrame and its supporting ontologies develop further, it will be ESS that will be the main point of contact for changes in development of those standards. If you have any questions or suggestions, all you need to do is contact me or one of the ESS members. To get in touch with me, it's really easy. Off the main CMC page or any of the subpages, you'll find this banner, and over here is the Contact Us tab. Click there, and you'll find the current membership of CMC, and there I am, James Sunyan, Encoding Standards Subcommittee Chair. Just click there and get in touch with me and send me any ideas that you might have. Thanks very much for viewing this screencast, and I hope that I've helped you better understand some of the work of the Encoding Standards Subcommittee.